Welcome back, everybody. We're back here in the VAB where we left off last time. Last time we did not get into orbit, so rather than waste time with the whole re-entry sequence again, we decided to just revert the flight back to the vehicle assembly building and see if we could make some adjustments that'll help us get into orbit. So what happened was we ran out of fuel. We didn't have enough juice in our upper stage to get us into orbit. So first thing we're going to do is add a fuel tank to the upper stage. So now we have twice as much fuel in the upper stage. But look what happened to our delta V. If I take that stage out and go back to where we were before, we had 1573 meters per second in the lower stage and 920 in the upper stage. But if I add this fuel tank back in, now we lose delta V in the lower stage, but we gain quite a bit of a delta V in the upper stage. So maybe this will do enough, because last time our lower stage got us into space, and our upper stage was where we didn't quite make it. So overall, we've added about 400 meters per second of delta V. Maybe that'll be enough. Let's take a look. Staging's correct. We'll call this orbital attempt number 2. And we'll save and launch. Iterating on your designs and solving problems and running into new problems as you get further and further into exploring the solar system is really the heart and soul of this game. So here we go. RCS is on, SAS is on, our staging is correct, our throttle is up, and let's go. 3, 2, 1. So I'll even a little bit slower than last time off the pad, but still moving along, getting some acceleration. The other thing we did last time that possibly was detrimental to our progress was we didn't get enough sideways velocity. We spent a lot of our fuel going up and not enough of it going down range, as they call it. So we're going to try tilting over a little bit more aggressively this time. So I'm just tapping D to keep the nose just drifting ever so slightly over to the right, getting through the thick part of the atmosphere. So we will throttle down a bit, and we'll try to be a little bit more aggressive about getting downrange. Because once we get above most of the atmosphere, it's really our lateral velocity that matters a whole lot more. So let's try that. We'll try accelerating a little bit here. Check the map quick. Okay. So we are where we were last time. We're got about 30,000, but climbing, that's good. We're almost running out of fuel here though. So let's back off a little bit. Just eat up some of that time. Okay. We've run out of fuel, we'll stage, and we'll have our upper stage take us the rest of the way. So again, we're just trying to hold on to this velocity we have right now. We don't really want to add too much to it until we get to our apoapsis. So we'll accelerate a little bit for the sake of time, and we can see that the apoapsis is getting not so much higher, but our downrange distance is increasing. Now we're at our apoapsis, so this is where we are going to accelerate. We're going to have to accelerate. We're going to have to steer a little bit up to keep that apoapsis in front of us. So back to we're not quite pointed at the horizon, we're just a little bit above it so that we can continue accelerating towards the horizon. And look at that, we see our parabola of our trajectory extending further and further around the planet. Let's see, will we have enough? Will we have enough? It looks like we're getting close. The apoapsis is getting further and further in front of us. And, oh, not quite. So you see the ring of our parabola didn't get us all the way around. And we still come back to Earth, or back to Kerbin, before making one full lap around the planet. So we're going to have to try again. And again, we're just going to use escape, and we're going to revert the flight back to vehicle assembly. All right, so we need even more oomph. How are we going to do that? Well, the more we add to the upper stage, the less the lower stage is going to be able to do, because the upper stage being heavier means the lower stage is going to get less and less effective. So instead of just adding more fuel, we're going to need a little bit more thrust. We're going to need to get the upper stage further above into the orbit, higher above the surface, before we start using the upper stage. So let's make the lower stage a little bit more powerful. How can we do this? Well, we don't have much in the way of aerodynamics. We have liquid fuel, we have some boosters. So we could, if we wanted to, add a booster underneath. There we go. We could add a solid rocket booster under there, and now we have a 3-stage rocket. Let's see if that can get us far enough downrange. Why not? Okay, we've got 340 meters per second in the first, and then we'll decouple and activate that engine, and then these two stages look like they're the same as before. So maybe that extra 340, maybe that'll do it for us. Let's find out. So we'll call this orbit attempt number 3. Save it, and we'll launch. Okay, rocket's getting pretty tall now. Hopefully a stiff breeze doesn't blow this thing over. Alright, so even though we're using a solid rocket motor on the first stage, I'm still going to throttle up before we take off, because as soon as that solid rocket motor is burnt out, we're going to want to switch to this engine without too much delay. I don't want to be fiddling with setting the throttle at that point. So, without further ado, SAS is on, RCS is on, staging is all good. Okay, ignition in 3, 2, 1, spacebar. Oh boy. Pretty slow, but still doing it. It's taking us up, and hopefully this will be enough. Just getting a little head start on this trajectory might be enough. So almost out of fuel. There it goes, and we're over to the the liquid fueled engine. And just like before, tilting the rocket over gradually. Oh, there goes the solid rocket motor. Must have blown up on the launch pad. Getting through that thick part of the atmosphere. Looks like we're heavy enough that we didn't really ever get those vapor cones. We didn't get fast enough when the air was thick enough. So this is looking like it might be a little bit more of an efficient way of getting into space. We'll see. Alright, we'll let prograde take over for a little bit, and we'll toggle the map. And looks like, yeah, our apoapsis is getting up there. So let's back off here. We'll use the little bit of residual fuel to coast a little bit further. All right, and that's it. We're out of fuel. Before we transition to the upper stage, though, this time we're going to try that trick I used earlier, using the stability assist instead of the prograde. Our throttle's at 0, so we'll stage to get rid of all that extra weight, and we'll use D to orient back towards the horizon, and now we'll start accelerating. And we'll point a little bit below the horizon. Let's see if that can lower our apoapsis a little bit. Yeah, there you go. So that's keeping our apoapsis a little bit low, which is good because it's meaning more of our energy is going into downrange acceleration, which is going to take us hopefully all the way around. Alright, and so this nice slow acceleration is good. It's keeping the apoapsis about a minute in front of us. You can see the T minus 50 seconds, T minus 49 seconds. So that's a countdown to telling us how long in the future our craft is going to reach that spot. And you can see it's going up now. It was going down before, but now it's going up, which means we're starting to make some pretty significant changes to our orbit. And look at that. Our orbital trajectory is coming around the planet. We still have a little bit of fuel left, and look, we have a periapsis, and I think we've done it. Let's see. So our apoapsis is now 181,000 meters, and our periapsis is 74,000 meters. So I think we've done it, folks. The periapsis is our lowest point in the orbit, closest to the surface. Our apoapsis is the highest point above the surface. And if both of those points, especially the periapsis, because if the periapsis is above the atmosphere, above 70,000 meters in this game, we're not going to encounter atmospheric drag, which means our speed is going to continue forever. So we've reached orbit, and we have just a little bit of fuel left, and we'll use that to deorbit later. But just to prove it to you, let's warp ahead, and we will go around and around and around. Look at that, we've reached orbit. I'll take a moment here just to enjoy the visuals. A close-up of our ship with the moon in the background. And another neat feature is our view, the internal view. We can switch to internal view, and we will zoom in and we'll see what Jebediah here sees out that little window. Okay, so there's the internal view. Look at that. Just stars for now. But if we go back out, so it's C is the key to switch between the internal view. We'll toggle the nav ball off, and we'll go stability assist. And that will just help us stay put wherever we pointed. And let's go back in to the view. And now I can use the WASD controls to rotate the craft, and we can see what Jeb sees. Look at that. Anyway, inside the cabin, we can, if we right click, we get our cursor back, and we can actually control the ship, believe it or not. So that throttle, if you click it, it'll work. I don't believe much else works, but you will be able to use that throttle. So if you really wanted to, you could try to fly the ship from in here, but that's pretty tall order. We got more science, food, not food, air, parts in the background there. On this side, science, tools, laundry, toothbrushes, and board games and snacks. So, that's it. We've reached orbit. This is already the longest video, but I think just for the sake of continuity, we'll try to return Jeb here to the planet safely. So in order to do that, we're going to need to reduce the periapsis to the point where it gets back into the atmosphere. And the most efficient way to do that is to wait until you're at the apoapsis and then flip the ship around, and instead of burning prograde, you'll flip to retrograde and basically burn backwards. So we will warp to our apoapsis, and I'll show you here. The planet drifting along below us. So now we're quite high above the surface, and you can see we're orbiting from left to right. So in retrograde, we'll point the ship backwards along the trajectory. And when we throttle up, this is going to slow us down, slow down our orbital velocity, and that will bring the periapsis back into the atmosphere. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, throttling up immediately. You see how it didn't take much throttle at all to get us back below that 70,000 meters. So just for fun, I will use a little bit more, just guarantee that we come back to the surface. All right. So that's where we're going to leave the video for today. I won't bore you with the re-entry and recovery, but thanks for tuning in, and hope to see you again next time.